We turn to the chairman, CEO, and editor-in-chief of Forbes magazine and Forbes company, Stephen Forbes. It's good to have you here.
Good to be with you, Diane.
Let me take the part of the taxpayer here. Looking at 9.5% unemployment in this country, a $1.8 trillion deficit right now, and shelling out taxpayer money just hand over fist. Should these executives get these giant bonuses and these giant pay packages?
I think you have to distinguish between management, executives, top people who run these companies, and the actual traders with whom they have contracts that if you meet certain goals, you get certain bonuses. The managers, the executives, should not get those bonuses, clearly in some of these cases, because their companies miserably have not performed. But the people who have performed as individual traders or salespeople, that's a different matter. Now, if the government is outraged by what these traders might make, meeting those specifications on their contracts, they met their goals. The company didn't, but they met their goals. If the government doesn't like that, it should have told those companies, when you get this bailout money, those contracts are broken and abrogated. They did not do that. So the government dropped the ball on that if they wanted to curb those bonuses.
You say you can't do it retroactively, all of a sudden change the rules after you've already given this money. But let's take Citigroup. As we know, we're talking about Andrew Hall here. Citigroup lost $27.7 billion, was bailed out $45 billion, going to give Andrew Hall, who did make them $2 billion over 3 years, $100 million, which is $274,000 a day in 4 hours, well, making more than the average family of four.
You just hit the number. His operation made $2 billion. The rest of the bank botched their operations. He performed.
But
now, in terms of future bonuses, one thing the government could do constructively is say that you pay these things out over 3 to 5 years to make sure these strategies were long-term sound. But if he made the bank $2 billion, he should get what he was promised. Now, in the future, you may say no more bonuses, but fine.
Citigroup even possibly be paying him this money if taxpayers hadn't bailed them out to the tune of $45 billion?
Well, he would say, and he made a contract. He delivered on his part of the contract. Now, the government, again, if the government goes in and says, as a condition of this bailout, those contracts are abrogated, you're in effect in bankruptcy, fine. Then Mr. Hall will take his talents and his people elsewhere. But the government did not do that, so don't blame him. And this gets to a bigger issue. How in the world did we get the bubble of this size? And this is something the Federal Reserve has to bear responsibility for. Diane, if they hadn't printed so much money in the early part of this decade, we never would have had this disaster. If they get rid of this policy of a weak dollar, which the Bush administration did, which was a disaster, this administration has to stop treating the dollar like toilet paper, and these crises will not reach the proportions they did.
Can't let you go without asking about what happened yesterday. We saw in a number of the talk shows administration officials, Treasury Secretary Geithner and also Economic Advisor Larry Summers, seeming to be softening the way for a tax cut that affects not just the wealthy in this country, but also the middle class. Some people are talking about a value-added tax on purchases.
Which is the equivalent of 15 to 20% sales tax, which is what they have in Europe.
You think it's inevitable?
No, and I think that would take us back to the 1970s, where we had massive tax increases because of inflation, stagnating economy. You reduce the burden on the American people, not increase it. You make the dollar strong and stable so people can trust it again, so people take risks again, and we'll pull ourselves out of this. If you increase the tax burden, you're just going to hurt the economy.
All right. Well, Steve Forbes, it's great to have you here.
Good to be with you.
Always
Thank you.
Appreciate it.